Do you want to know the difference between an average looking capability statement versus an amazing capability statement that is inviting and draws the reader in? If you're going to be marketing your government contracting business, you definitely want to understand the differences between an average looking capability statement and an amazing capability statement that draws in the reader and sells the goods or services for you that your company offers. In this video, I'm going to quickly touch on the basics that you must have in a capability statement if you don't already know. And then after that, I'm going to take you through an in-depth look of an example capability statement and some do's and don'ts that you should consider. And then lastly, I'm going to show you where you can actually get some amazing capability statements like this one on the right, so you're not left with using an average looking capability statement. So if you're ready to market your GovCon business, stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back. Derek James here, today with another government contracting video. And today we're talking about amazing capability statements. If you're looking to market your GovCon business, your capability statement is one of the most important tools that you can have. So with that being the case, you want to make sure you're not stuck with an average looking capability statement that looks like everybody else or that's boring to read. Your government customer is going to check out, they're not going to remember you, and if you're making a first impression with a meeting, it's not going to be doing anything for you. So as you saw in the opening clip, there is a huge difference between an average looking capability statement that kind of everybody has versus an amazing capability statement. But before we get into what makes an amazing capability statement, if you're new or you're not sure what a capability statement is, I'm going to quickly cover the essential elements that you must have if you plan to start marketing your GovCon business. In a quick overview, you're going to want to make sure you have a company summary. You're going to have your Naiks codes and your PSC codes, which we'll talk about. Past performance for any projects that you've completed in the past. Any socioeconomic statuses that your company may have. You definitely want to make sure you have your cage and DUNS number, and it should go without saying, but you also need your point of contact information. As we go through this, remember, your capability statement is your company's one-page elevator pitch. That is what a capability statement is. This is your opportunity to get in front of a customer or a potential customer and sell them on what it is that your company does. That's why all these elements are crucial in even having a basic capability statement. So now let's quickly touch on each of these. To begin in a capability statement, you need to have a company summary. If a contracting officer or a small business rep is looking at your capability statement and you don't introduce them to your company, they're going to have to start searching and piecing things together to figure out what it is that your company actually does and what you stand for. When you're creating this part of your capability statement, you want to ask yourself, what does your company have to offer the government? And then if you want to make it really stand out, ask the question, how do you stand out from your competition? If your capability statement gets in the hands of a technical person, maybe a program manager, someone who's really involved in the performance of the work, they're going to really appreciate how you stand out from your competition because they're going to know the industry. So consider these questions when you're putting together a short company summary on your capability statement. Now, the next thing that you want to consider are the North American Industry Classification System codes, more often referred to as Naiks Codes, and this can also include any PSC product and service codes that you may be using for your business. Every good or service that the government buys has a Naiks code attached to it. So it would make sense that you want to have a short list of these Naiks codes on your capability statement to specifically advertise and market the types of goods and services that you can provide, that your company can provide. Now, you do want to be careful not to include too many Naiks codes on your capability statement because it can become overwhelming and the person reviewing your CAPE statement becomes a little diluted and unsure about what it really is that you offer. I find adding 5 to 10 Naiks codes to your capability statement is a healthy balance that allows you to fully demonstrate what your company has to offer. Next, we're talking past performance. This can also be called your experience. What experience or past performance do you have? What other work have you already completed successfully? If you've already completed work for your company, this should be no problem for you. Choose the best options that you have to demonstrate to the government. But if you don't have any experience or past performance yet, I know this is a big hurdle for companies getting started out in government contracting. So consider these additional questions. Have you worked with any other company through a joint venture or a teaming arrangement? If so, consider using that as past performance. Have you worked as a subcontractor to another company that held a contract or was a prime contractor? If so, you can definitely use subcontracting experience. That's okay. And this last one you don't see used as often, but if it is applicable, you can consider any personal experience that you may have. Maybe you're personally a master in your trade, in your industry, and you're bringing that experience to this business. And now you're the business owner, so the business itself takes on that experience because you're a key personnel working for the company. Like I said, you don't see this one as much, but if you get in a pinch and you don't have anything, I have seen companies leverage this form of experience as well. What I really want to stress is try to come up with some form of past performance or experience. It really doesn't look good when you have nothing to show. So consider asking yourself these questions so that you can demonstrate some past performance for your company. Next, we have socioeconomic status. Does your company have any certifications or special statuses? Some examples are woman-owned small business, veteran-owned small business. Maybe you're in the 8A program, or maybe your business participates in the Hub Zone set-aside program. If you're involved in any of these, you definitely want to let prospective customers know that, because they actually get small business goals to award contracts with small businesses that have these set-asides. So letting them know that you're participating in any of these programs can go a long way through securing a relationship and significantly increasing your chances at getting contracts in the future. Again, this is all being conveyed through your capability statement, and your customer is only going to look at it at a glance for 30 seconds, maybe a couple minutes tops. So demonstrating this information in a powerful way makes all the difference. Next, you absolutely must have your cage code and your DUNS number for your company on your capability statement. If you don't have those numbers yet, you shouldn't be handing out your capability statement. The cage code is something that you get through your SAM registration. It's a 5-digit code, and it's actually assigned to you by the DLA, and you'll get that in your SAM update email during the registration process. They literally send you what your code is. Now, the DUNS number is a 9-digit code. This is something you do on your own. You can go to dnb.com, the Dun & Bradstreet website. This is only a 5-minute process, and you get an auto-generated DUNS number for your company that never changes, and then you will have that DUNS number for your business. You want to make sure you have both of these numbers on your capability statement. It's the largest point of reference that a contracting officer or a small business rep will use to look up your business, so you don't want to make them try to hunt or find it. Now lastly, this should go without saying, but your point of contact information should be displayed on your capability statement. Whoever you want them to call or send an email to, put that on the capability statement. Make sure you include a name and even a title for the person if possible. Then also a direct phone number and their direct email. Don't give them a generic email like info@company.com. They want to know they're reaching a person. Like I said, this should go without saying, but I actually have seen capability statements that had no way for the customer to contact them even if they were interested. So make sure you include this as well. So now that we've quickly run through the basics of what you need to have in even a basic capability statement, now let's go ahead and take a look at an in-depth capability statement so that you see how this all ties together. Okay, so this is a fun and helpful exercise where you can look at capability statements to get ideas, to do some homework and research of your own. If you go over to Google and you just search capability statement, and then if you filter by images, you see all of these capability statements come up. And they even organize them for you from engineering, consulting, construction, janitorial. And then when you select that, it filters even further. And you can see that a lot of these capability statements, they look a lot like what we saw in the beginning example. And that's really why I wanted to do this video, because I don't want you being stuck having an average capability statement that looks like everybody else's. So as you can see, a lot of the capability statements They may have covered most of the bases in terms of the basic information that they need to have, but you would not say by any means that these capability statements are amazing. So I actually have just pulled up one capability statement, which is on the better end of basic, I will admit. And this is not intended to be a bashing session or anything like that. Basic capability statements are okay, but by their nature, they are supposed to market and advertise your company. And so that means they should stand out. So if your capability statement is looking boring, if it's looking like everybody else's, it's not going to stand out. So this is an example of a better end of basic is what I would call it, capability statement. They have a lot of the information that they're supposed to have, and it looks professional enough and fairly decent. And let's take a quick look at what they have. So right up here at the top, they have a company summary or a company profile that lets the customer know that they are a B2G marketing and procurement firm. They utilize proprietary strategies that will enable our clients to grow their business exponentially. They're using a lot of these, big words. They're doing their best to try to sell their company. And then if you expand down here, they've taken that differentiator component that we talked about and they've turned it into core competencies. So these are the areas that they focus on, which I do like. And they put pictures here. That's nice enough. It gives a decent at a glance description to the government. Down here, they have their Naiks codes and their PSC codes. So you can see they put 5 codes down here so they didn't overwhelm. So they did a good job here. They made it in bold so you can see what they are. And they've even given a description for what the code is. Sometimes I'll see people just put the number or the code and they don't include the description. Well, nobody knows all these off the top of their heads, so you should include the description. They have their company snapshot here, which I like. They've got a point of contact, an email, an address. They have what they're calling success stories, which is comparable to your past performance or experience. Maybe they don't have a lot of past performance, so they've bundled it under success stories, which I actually like. I think that's creative. Success stories still sounds good, so maybe that's something you could use if you don't have past performance on direct projects. And down here, they've added some differentiators, some more bullet points about their business. So this one is decent, but it is missing some of the basic information that we talked about. I don't see a Cage and Duns number on here anywhere. And that kills me because, like I said, this is on the better end of basic in terms of being eye-catching and displaying the information in a readable fashion that's not super overwhelming. So I would definitely like to see them add their Cage and Duns number to their capability statement. Down here, they do have their point of contact information, and it's just a little faded out because this is an image, so it doesn't actually look like that on their statement. So they've included their point of contact information and a point of contact, and they've done it twice, which I actually like. It's letting the government know a specific person that they can talk to if they have questions about their company, GP&M Advisory Services, Inc. They've included a QR code, a quick response code here, which I actually don't love. I think it's taking up space. As far as I know, nobody actually has a QR code app, and they're going to take a picture of this to see a picture of their capability statement on their phone or their website. So what I would advise that you do is to create a downloadable format of the capability statement on your company's website. And then that's something that you can link up on the digital format of the capability statement through using a hyperlink. They have a hyperlink here for their email, so they could do another one for their website, which they have right here at the top. So I don't want to overkill this, and I don't want to spend too much time on any of these specific points. I did want to give you a basic outline and then a real life example of how all these basic elements tie together in a capability statement. And as you saw on the Google search, many of the capability statements that are out there look like this, or they're even worse. So now let's go ahead and take a look at what I call an amazing capability statement. Okay, so here you can see here's an actual capability statement, which is the example of what we saw on the beginning image at the beginning of this video. You can see immediately that a lot of the basic information is covered in this capability statement. Actually, all of it's covered, but then you see some additional things that really make it pop, they make it stand out. So let's quickly take a look at this. Immediately what pops out to me is the design. I see a branding of colors, and it's not an overusage of colors, which can be a big no-no on capability statements. There's only a few colors here. The color scheme blends together. It's nice. Everything has a professional finish on it. I can see that somebody really spent some time to make this appealing for the reader. But not only that, all of the basic things that I would want to see do still pop out to me. So I'm not overwhelmed or distracted with the aesthetics of this, because right here I can see Naiks Codes. They're nicely numbered, nicely separated. They're not all crammed together. I see experience, which is past performance. But now I even have a customer name. I have a dollar value for the project. And I even have a short blurb that tells me as a customer a little bit about that project. And they're giving me 3 past performances here, 3 different experiences. That's really, really nice to see as a customer, as a contracting officer or a small business representative on the government side of the house. This instills into me a lot more confidence than the basic capability statement that we were looking at. I see down here the DUNS number, the cage code, the set-asides, everything's nicely displayed. And it's not overdone. It's just the basic information. There's not a lot of fluff. Now, I do see some of these things on the side, like a dedicated team. Up here, we have a quality commitment. And I actually like that because it's not in the way, but it's there if you want to read it. Even on the front here, we have a mission statement, which can sometimes get in the way, but this is actually over the cover photo, so it kind of blends together nicely. And I also see the cage and the DUNS number repeated right up here at the top. And I even see a space dedicated to the company name and the company logo up here in the upper left-hand corner. That really makes it stand out. I'm also seeing the website all on its own. It might be small, but it really pops down here because there's nothing else down here to distract it. And the reason why this is all possible is because this is a front and back capability statement. It's not just a front-only capability statement. So one of the big differences that makes this one amazing or allows it to be amazing is because it's actually using twice as much space. You guys, I highly recommend that you use a double-sided capability statement. Like I said, it gives you twice as much space. It allows everything not to be crammed together, and it allows you to share a lot more information. 100% of the time, I see a contracting officer or a small business rep look at a CAPE statement. They look at the front when you hand it to them, and then they immediately turn it over and they look at the back. And a lot of the times, there's nothing on the back, it's just white. And every time I see that, I'm like, okay, there's a missed opportunity because their eyes immediately went to the back, but then there's nothing there. Now, I don't recommend having multiple pages for a capability statement. You want to think of this as a large business card, really. You don't have multiple business cards stapled to each other. But there's nothing wrong at all with having a double-sided CAPE statement. I highly encourage it. You can see the difference between the basic one and this one, and a lot of it is made possible because it's double-sided. Okay guys, so I do have a confession. I was a little bit biased in that amazing capability statement because it's actually something that I made. If any of you have taken the GovCon free master class, you'll know that I link up a free basic capability statement in there. And that's great if you need something quick to get up and going. The time I created that, I wanted to give you guys something. But like I said, I am biased about the amazing capability statement because it is something that I created. So I do have uploaded on GovCon Academy here where you can get the capability statement for yourself if this is something that you want to use for your business. I actually have 3 of them that I made for you guys. The first one is a professional services CAPE statement. It's front and back. The second is construction services. You can see the branding is different, but it's the same exact layout. And then I also have a grounds and facility services CAPE statement. These are amazing capability statements. I actually went in and wrote all the specific information for them. For example, this is a grounds and facility support CAPE statement. I wrote in the grounds and facilities Naiks Codes. Then I even tailored the company and the technical services to a grounds and facilities company. Not so that you can just take it and use it, but so that you can see in my writing an example of something you could use, and then you can modify and change the sentences to best meet your business. Now, obviously, everything in here needs to be edited and customized. For example, the cage and the DUNS number is something that I just made up. ABC Company is not a real company, or the abc.com website. All this needs to be updated or changed. But in all of these CAPE statements, they're entirely editable. What you get is a Word doc download. So everybody has Microsoft Word or is able to access a Word doc. So if you have Word, That's all that you need. You don't need Adobe. You don't need some special software. All you need to be able to do is download this in Word, and then everything is its own separate text box and image, and you can literally edit and change everything that you want. So I'm trying to make everything as low cost and affordable for you guys, because that's the feedback that I've received over the last year. So you actually can get access to all of these for $25. It's $25 to enroll. And then you'll be able to get the fully editable version of each of these. And the thing is, I'm going to keep adding capability statements to this. I'd like to have upwards of a dozen. So just so you know too, once you enroll, you're enrolled for life. So you will also get access to any future capability statements that I add, which leads me to the last thing that I want to present as we end this video. If there's a type of capability statement that you would like, drop that in the comments of this video. I will be checking the comments, and then the type of capability statements that get the most votes, I will go ahead and create those and make those accessible as part of this as well. Again, I'm really doing this for you guys, but I did have to charge for these. These ones can't be free because I did spend a lot of time designing these and putting these together. And I think $25 is fair to have access to all these cape statements. You can use all of them. And like I said, everything is totally customizable and editable. I know that this isn't going to be something that you just take and use. You have to change it around to match your company. And that's what the whole goal is, to make a capability statement that's amazing for your business. There's not many places online that you can go to get really nice looking capability statements. And the ones that I'm finding where you can, they're charging hundreds or even thousands of dollars, and you have to have a subscription, and it's really unnecessary. So when you're ready to start marketing your GovCon business and you need a capability statement, just know that this is here as a resource. Lots of people have other means, or maybe they're graphically inclined to make their own capability statements, and that's awesome. I'm only offering this for people who don't have any other options and they don't want to spend an arm and a leg just to get a cape statement for their business. So guys, in this video, it was really my main intent to educate you on the basics of what you must have in a capability statement if you want to go on to market your GovCon business, as well as to let you know the differences between a basic capability statement and an amazing capability statement. Hit that like button if you like this video, and if you like GovCon related videos, consider subscribing to my channel, because my entire channel is dedicated to government contracting. That's all that I do. That's all that I talk about. So you won't be disappointed there. So have a great week, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.